Everyone, Jason Nunn, Fisherman's Warehouse Marine, Sweet Street at Warners Bay, your Newcastle Honda marine dealer. And Friday today, guys, we just thought we'd just see exactly what's happening. Obviously, you can see behind us here, you've got these sort of sporadic storms pretty much up and down the coast here at the present moment. But later on this afternoon, they tell us that that may sort of dissipate, and tomorrow and into Sunday looks quite good with sort of east-northeast winds, a bit of nor'west early on Sunday, and our next southerly is due Monday morning, very early in the AM, and around about 20 odd knots. Tides this weekend, which are going to be pretty important because it's the beginning of the prawn run on Sunday night. So 10:15 Saturday morning, low tide, not a real low tide, I must say, and 4 o'clock in the afternoon for a high. And look, those tides now have moved around as we've been discussing for the last couple of months. So the high tide in the afternoon is only a real weak tide, probably around about 1.4, 1.5. So it's not a lot of sort of tidal movement between the out and the in. But we're heading into that dark cycle now. And of course, through next week, we'll be heading through the new moon. So really the next 7 days, some really good fishing anticipated, I've got to say, but all centering on the amount of prawns that come out of Lake Macquarie pretty much Sunday onwards. You could probably go Saturday night. I think that's probably a given, but definitely from Sunday onwards looks fantastic. And those Eastern King prawns should taste pretty good if you're going to put a few away for Christmas. Now, we'll start out wide. The temperatures out there have now sort of like started to stabilise a bit in and around about that 23.5 degrees. That good push of water is now started to be a little bit wider of Port Stephens, but it's still in and around about that 25.8, nearly 26 degrees. So it's only really weeks away. It's just going to be interesting to see how it operates, whether it sort of swirls around on the back of that eddy or it starts to come eastward. When you look at the tides and the currents out there at the moment, the water's sort of moving in on the edge, and it's not running much in and around the mids and the southerns, and even up to the car park. It's probably about half a knot. Reports that I'm getting are very little bird life on the edge. There is a little bit of bait there, but not a lot of bait. And there are definitely striped marlin there, but you've got to work hard for them. No one's catching 4s and 5s or 6s or anything like that. You'll go out there, you may see a marlin. I know a couple of the boys, I know Jace got in contact me through the week. Seen a striped marlin on the mid-canyons, no success. And that's what guys are doing. They're seeing the odd marlin out there, but nothing, nothing to really rave about. All reports are, guys, that the bait is stacked up in that farm area, so that inshore fishery does have the potential to actually produce a few marlin in there. And no doubt we'll start to see a little bit more of an increase in dolphin fish as this water temperature picks up in and around about that, on the fads obviously, but that 100-metre line looks very good. Report today of some very nice snapper, I might add, on the farm, and fish 2 to 5 kilos, so there's some bigger fish there. Sort of tells me there's a bit more consistency with the water temperature from the top to the bottom now, where I think we were lagging before where that water on the bottom wasn't as good. It's now blended through, so great opportunities, definitely Saturday into Sunday, to get out there and have a bit of a look, but some really good class snapper on that deep water, which is fantastic. The inshore fishery, still lots of trag around, which is great to see, and I reckon that'll start to increase with obviously those snapper and flatties, but I have had no reports at all of Bonito, and I'm getting calls, and a lot of guys that are coming into certainly our Warners Bay office here talking about, are the Bonito back? I have had no reports. So guys, if you're out there fishing and you get a few Bonito, please send me a message, because look, they are a little bit late. Normally this time last year they were definitely here, and in previous years, they can turn up as late as sort of like mid-January, but no Bonito as yet, but I reckon that's got to be just weeks away as well. The beach itself, the odd salmon's still around there, guys, but you really got to sort of now start to turn into that summer theme. Whiting brim, definitely a few flathead and some mulloway. There's still a few brim and trevally getting caught on the rocks, but there's not a lot of guys going down to the rocks at the present moment. And look, there's not a lot of swell for this week, so definitely Rock and Beach looks ideal. With that low tide, I don't mind fishing the beaches on the low tide in particular. I think you can really pick out those whiting in those small gutters a little bit better. Again, best bait I think on the beach nowadays is definitely tube worms, and they'll also play effect in the estuary, but it's all going to be centered around the lake. There's still some really nice blue swimmer crabs out there. There's still enough room to put a few pots in. I know it gets a bit busy through the weekends, but the potential's there. The whiting in the channel, there's some really good fish. The Convery boys, and certainly Donnie called in through the week, they didn't have any worms, but they got some really nice brim on mackerel strips actually. So look, it just goes to show you, you don't have to be always using live bait and everything else. But no whiting, of course. Had a few preserved yabbies, no good at all. I think the tubes are the only thing that's going to tackle those whiting and or live prawns at present. But some nice brim, and better brim of an evening. We did talk about it last week. So guys, don't forget, if you can fish into the evening, I think that is definitely a better option. But a really good tide at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So you just got to move it through. Some nice flathead also getting caught not only on baits but definitely lures. And this year has gone so quick. We're basically almost in the middle now of December. So it's only going to be a few weeks' time, and you're going to start to see those flathead group up in big numbers, those big females and lots of males. So they'll be spawning, no doubt, through January into February. But it's good to see some real quality fish still out there. But those eating size fish, those fish in and around about that 50-55 centimetre mark, there's quite a few around. A bit of thunder coming in behind me. I don't think it's going to get us. I think we're all right at this point. Some good mulloway in the lake as well. And the build up to this prawn run, guy, you're going to see a lot of squid definitely throughout that channel on the seaward side of the bridge. But you'll see a big build up, definitely starting to get into Murrays. But, sticks, and the back drop over, western drop over, and all of that sort of stuff. Obviously, we went down and had a bit of we had a discussion, brief and blunt, with the potential dredging that's going to go on in Lake Macquarie. We'll see how that all goes down there. They're not dredging the Air Force channel for those guys that didn't get to the meeting. It's all centered around the main channel, which we did talk about quite a lot. Now, one of the other things that's happening in the channel, if you're a bridge fisherman, those poles that are on the lake side of the bridge are being removed. You can't tie up to them now. Everyone likes to hook up to them and extend back onto the bridge. So they're going to be basically removed, and I think you'll find they're getting removed as we speak. So again, you've got to be aware, anchoring seaward side and lake side of the bridge, there is some restrictions there, and you can't tie up to the bridge, even though guys seem to, once they know the waterways, guys have locked their boat up. But you've got to be well aware of that. So brim, whiting, flathead, mulloway in the lake, I think there's plenty of options. But look, if you get onto the prawn run and you get out there and get a few, please give us a tingle. And Bonito, I definitely want to report on that. All in all, enjoy your weekend. Just starting to sprinkle a little bit. It's all right. Get out there, have a crack, and I'll see you next week.